It's on.
And we're live.
Yes.
We're live.
Yes, and
Live?
this is live
Live. Oh my goodness.
with the Artist Project. It's called the Artist Report.
Okay.
And basically, we just talk to different artists every week that come into Tap Studios.
Okay.
So tell us all a little bit about you. I know you've been on a ton of TV shows.
Sure.
How did you start getting on TV shows? Did it just happen magically?
Well, no, it starts at a really young age. I used to watch TV like 5 hours a day when I was little. And my mom said, "What are you going to do with your life?" And I said, "I think that." And she goes, "I'm serious." And I go, "No, really. I think I'm going to do that stuff on the TV." And she didn't really think I was going to do it. And then I started pursuing it, and I had, auditioned for a play when I was in high school that was going to London. I went to this company, and I went.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was the company?
It was this theater company that would perform at this festival called NIFTY, which stood for Newham International Festival for Theater in England. And I auditioned with the company. They wanted an American company to go over there. I auditioned, and I got into the company, and that was my first play that I ever did. It was a show in London. No, battery's low. Look at that.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
Let's do this.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's do that. and then after that, I came back, and I was like, I think this is really what I'm going to do. And started focusing, studied in college, and then, also when I was in high school, there was a show called Spencer for Hire. That used to be about this detective series called Robert Parker. And they came to film. I worked at the Boston Gardens ball boy for the Celtics. And they were filming an episode, and I went up to the second AD, and I said, I would like to be on a set sometime. And they called me, and they brought me down to the set, and I worked as an extra for the first time when I was in high school.
That's so cool.
I know.
That's awesome.
I skipped school, kind of like went to work for a day, and then at the end of the day, my mom said, "Did you learn anything?" I said, "Yeah, that I never want to be an extra again, and that I will become an actor when I get to LA." So that's what
that's what you learned.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
not bad.
Did you work with? I know the Fairley brothers are in Boston. Did you get to work with them a lot?
No, I've never worked with them, and I didn't really work in Boston. I mean, Robert Parker was one thing, but I didn't act professionally until after college, and I moved to Los Angeles.
And what did you do in college? Was it acting or?
Yeah, I was a theater and film major.
Where? Which college?
The Claremont colleges. I went to Pitzer College and studied theater at Pomona College, and studied dance at Scripps, studied film at CMC.
Would you recommend that people go to school or go to college to take acting?
That's a really good question. I think all education is good. If you're learning things, it's important. I think things that I learn outside of theater and film are very valuable. I mean, I took a semester off and I studied in London, and I look back and I go, I learned a lot in London, but maybe I should have taken a semester in Italy and learned more about like something else, than theater and film, or studied commedia dell'arte, or studied something that was outside of the norm for me. But yeah, I mean, college is a fine road. I learned more about kind of like what they don't teach you enough of, even if you're a theater major in college, is how to balance your checkbook and how to take care of yourself and be responsible as an adult. I wish they taught an adulting class.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm still learning every day.
You know what I'm saying? How to invest your money properly as somebody who isn't like a money investor.
Yeah.
Right?
It's hard.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
really hard. That's the hard stuff that I don't that I don't normally do.
I can do a Shakespearean monologue, but I really don't know where to put my money. It's like I wish somebody would tell me.
Have you done theater in LA?
I have done theater in LA. I mean, when I first got to LA, the first thing I did, obviously, was before YouTube. So it was like, if you wanted to be seen, you had to do stage. So I did Romeo and Juliet right when I got here, within a couple of weeks, and then I directed a couple of shows in LA too. And I did a one-man show. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, how did you find a theater company for everyone out there who's trying to they move here and they don't know where to start? How did you?
I mean, you don't do what I did. Because when I was a kid, it was hard to find out about auditions. There was a magazine called Backstage that you could look in the back and find things that were casting, and then there were newspapers. There are no newspapers anymore. There are no newspapers. So you go on the internet, I'm assuming. But it used to be a place called Samuel French Bookshop that just closed down in L.A.
What?
You know that bookshop?
Of course I know Samuel French. They closed?
Yeah.
When did they close?
Last month.
Get out.
No. I used to go there.
I would go there all the time.
Yeah, and they used to have information
plays and everything.
And they used to have magazines that were about castings.
Yeah,
and they used to have
and all
things.
the emails and everything.
Well, even before emails, when I would go there, there were magazines about what plays were with theater companies.
Yeah.
You could reach out, you could find out what was going on. It's gone. It died because
Oh,
of
you
the
just
internet.
made me really sad.
I got
didn't
super
even know.
sad.
Yeah.
I went back there to buy some plays and say goodbye because it was like my watering hole. It's where I went to get my information forever, and it's gone. But I'm assuming now, if you go online, I'm sure if you search, you can find out what theater companies are going on. There's casting, and I highly recommend. Theater is still obviously available to people, but if you don't have film experience, it is much more important to go to backstage, Actors Access, and something called Cast with a Z, and go on these sites and register. And if you register on those sites, what you can do is you can find about
Cast with a Z. Oh, is that Cast place?
Yeah, it's like that. They have castings there.
Yeah, they have a lot of castings.
Yeah, and if you're a new actor, they have a lot of non-union casting for people. And it's more important that you get on film and see what, like watching game tapes, seeing how you act on camera, learning what you look like when you do that, learning what it's like for very low stakes, acting in something, hitting your mark, and understanding how things put together. That's what's important now.
Now, I know you're also a teacher.
Yeah.
How do you is there anything that you tell actors when they first come to you? Any tips or advice?
Yeah, if you don't love it, don't do it. That's like number one, right? If you can think of anything else in the world you'd rather do, we're dying. We're down to 10%. Oh, I hope we make it to the end.
We will.
We will. We'll make it. We're going to make it.
Positivity.
We shall make it. But if there's anything else in the world you'd rather do, you probably should do it. Because the rejection rate is really high, even if you're good. You know.
And how do you handle rejection?
Pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm a seasoned veteran now. It's like I'm not scared of much anymore. But I mean, at first you're like, why doesn't everybody love me? It's like But I mean, you end up realizing if you book 5% of your auditions, you're doing a really good job.
Yeah.
That means rejected 95% of the time. You have to accept the fact that 95% of the time, no matter how much time and effort you put in, you're unlikely to get it. And that's the big thing. But I tell actors that's important. I also tell them, the thing is like you should really be doing it because of the love of the art. Because the truth of the matter is, to get paid to do it is a difficult endeavor for everyone.
Yeah.
If you're a painter, if you like to paint, you don't expect to get paid to paint.
Exactly.
If you like to dance, you go to the dance studio, you don't think you'll become a professional dancer, most likely.
Yep.
And acting should be the same thing. The love of the craft, and if you do well enough with the craft, eventually people will do.
That's amazing. I love that tip. Now, I looked you on IMDb, looked up your IMDb, and I saw that you were just unhappy. What was the casting process like for that show?
Okay, so I'm very lucky. The director, writer, co-creator, co-producer is this guy named Brian Taylor, who has cast me. And this is how the world works. Like, I've been around for a long time, right? And I've paid my dues. And Brian Taylor was the second directing unit on a film I did years ago called The Real Deal. That's how we met. And we were sent off to go shoot some B footage for something, I want to say 15 years ago. And he and I hit it off, and we got along great. He then ended up directing a movie called Crank, and he put me in Crank 2. He then directed a movie called Gamer, and put me in Gamer.
That's
He then directed a movie called Mom and Dad with Nick Cage, put me in Mom and Dad. And then he came in to see a play that I acted in LA that I kind of co-wrote the second act of. And he came and saw that, and after that he went, yeah. And then I was driving to Vegas, and he goes, I think you're going to be my Santa Claus for Happy. And I was like...
Which is a pretty big character.
Yeah.
It's a pretty amazing... When Michael told me you were coming here, I was like, oh my God, he plays this psycho villain, but but with a heart of gold. Like, you're with those children. Yeah, it was with those children. I thought, oh my God, but then you're like so sweet to them, and then also so scary.
Thank you.
What was that like?
Well, here's the thing. So you get a comic book that you know it's based on a graphic novel, and the character is... For all intents and purposes, a comic book is two-dimensional, so you can only see so much. And he's not fully developed in the comic, and the comic is only 4 issues long. So it's clear that he's delusional, but you're not really sure how. I was able, God bless them, there's a guy named Grant Morrison who wrote the comic, and he was there every day. And I was able to sit down with him and Brian and ask all of my questions of and then they answered them the way they saw him, and I would argue my point of view, and we shaped this guy. And then after that, what I did is I put a lot of time into my apartment in New York, where I hung up Christmas lights.
Oh, wow.
And played Christmas music 4 hours a day. Because I played the schizophrenic, crack-smoking Santa Claus that kidnaps children. And so I really embedded myself with Christmas. And
That's
and I
great.
had this, and weird enough, we created this talking puppet in my hand that I did when I was talking to kids, because I thought they were going to be scared of me. So I created this friend of mine, which then Brian, because he's a genius and always always thinking. They created an episode which was just this talking friend of his that he was my imaginary friend and gave him his own storyline, and all of a sudden my puppet had a storyline that was sometimes bigger than mine, and but it was an amazing process to kind of like dive in and really be given the freedom to kind of like do whatever I wanted. So.
It's really cool. It's really, really cool. And did you have to like get into that mindset of being homeless every day, or not really homeless?
I went out on the streets and looked homeless.
Yeah.
I brought some clothes that were homeless, and I spent a night walking around New York looking like a psychopath and crazy, and hiding my face and just huddled in a corner as people walked by me on the sidewalk.
That's amazing.
To just kind of like get the feeling of what it was like to be invisible like that.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, and then but then on top of that, I went early and wore that coat which weighs 40 pounds.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know it weighed 40 pounds.
Yeah, it was heavy. But the most important stuff was get comfortable with the movement. I even talked to Brian about I thought physically they wanted me to be imposing to Chris Maloney. So I worked out doing heavy lifting and eating lots of carbs and protein and just getting bulked up. I was 35 pounds heavier when I did the show.
Oh wow.
And I got big. And then on top of that, I felt like it was important that, like you said, for me the character couldn't just be evil. He had to have a sense of why he was doing what he was doing. And I thought that meant that I had to really address the idea of does he love these children?
Yeah.
How does he feel about the children? Why are they gifts that he's giving away? Right? Does he know they're going to a good place or a bad place? If giving them to a bad place, why is it justified? Why does he want to keep this one girl for himself?
Yeah.
There's all these questions to ask.
Yeah,
right?
it's so interesting.
Yeah, so it gets kind of complicated. But for me, it was important that people feel for him and understand why he was as crazy as he was.
That's amazing. And how long did you have time to work on that character?
Well, we shot the pilot, I think it was, I want to say it was April, May, a couple years ago we shot it. And,
it was a couple years ago. Oh, I just saw it.
When we shot the pilot, it was 2 years ago. And then the show aired on Sci-Fi last Christmas, so we started shooting in September. So I had, it might have been February, I think I had we shot the pilot, and he had given me enough notice that I had a month or two to think about it. But in the pilot, I had very little, and we knew I had very little. So I just didn't, I put a lot of time into thinking about what I was going to do for that little amount. But once they told me the show was picked up, I had about 3 months to really hash out the character.
That's amazing. Now, I also saw that you did a lot of directing. Would you rather direct or act?
You know what? I mean, that's like asking a dancer to just feel like modern dance or tap. I don't. For me, the thing is acting. Acting is not by any means easy, but for me, it is the easiest of the group.
Gotcha.
It requires, once I'm given the freedom to do what I want to do, getting the job is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Getting the freedom to do what I want to do is the hard part. And those are the things. Once I get the job, then everything's easier. Freedom to do what I want to do also makes it easier. Directing, you're creating a universe, and you're 24 hours a day thinking about this. So you go from pre-production, trying to get your money, trying to get the project going, getting hired, casting, shooting, editing, up until the premiere. It's all this big thing. It's a lot of time, and when you're filming, it's 18 hours a day, and your brain's constantly thinking about it. When you're acting, you get hired, you show up, put on the makeup, and then you leave, and then you do some ADR, and you leave, and then you come back for the premiere and wave, and everyone loves you, and nobody knows who the director is. And that's really, it's kind of, I think directing's a much longer, harder process. It's extremely rewarding because it's creating a universe, but it's like the difference between being a chess piece and being the person playing chess.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you have an Instagram. Where do people? What's your Instagram? So
At Joe Ugly.
Joe Ugly. That's awesome. And is there anything coming up that you want to talk about or tell everyone about that you're working on?
I just finished shooting Jay and Silent Bob reboot that they're
That's
doing with Kevin
so
Smith.
cool. Oh my God, how is working with Kevin Smith?
That's great because I was in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back a long time ago, and he brought me back for this film, which was so kind of him. So that'll be coming out in October.
Amazing.
And then I did a movie called Use Me that will be coming out where I play a submissive to a dominatrix. That is coming out sometime this year, I think, as well.
That's cool.
It's playing the festival circuit.
Awesome.
And it's a movie called Break Even that I just did yesterday, but I don't know what's going to happen.
That's so cool. Well, that's amazing. And is there any last tips that you want to give people who want to be an actor?
You know what?
Last tips from you.
No, more than anything, if you have questions, feel free to write me. How's
That's
that?
great. Yeah, I like that.
Reach out to me on Instagram or on Facebook, and you can ask me questions, and I'll do my best to answer whenever I can.
So Well, thanks for coming on. It was really awesome to see everyone. Make sure you check out all of those movies, but Happy is on Netflix, right?
Happy's on Netflix right now.
So,
Yeah, you should watch Happy. It's great.
It's really good, and you're really scary but nice in it in a weird way. So it's so cool to be sitting.
Yes, and watch Punisher season 2, episode 11. I'm in that too, playing Creepy Ed. Also a good episode.
That's awesome. I kind of I wish you brought your Santa Claus outfit.
They didn't let me keep it.
Oh, that's so sad.
I didn't even get to keep the song. Nothing. People are asking questions. I'll have to go back and watch and see what people wrote.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
You're
Bye.
watching the Artist Report. Artist Report. I'm Lauren Francesca.
I'm Joe Reitman.
Yes. Bye.
Thanks for watching.